Lights, camera, action. On tonight's episode, we're going to show you how we're going to fill this theater during the Muskoka Queer Film Festival, March 21st, here in beautiful Bracebridge. Welcome to another episode of Let's Be Perfectly Queer here on Rogers TV Barrie. On tonight's episode, I have some amazing guests who are all part of the brand new Muskoka Queer Film Festival. This is the first year for the festival. We have the festival's curator, the Pride liaison for the festival, and the director of the festival themselves with us tonight. So please welcome my guests. We have Olena Semenova, Sean Forth, and the lovely Michelle Empson.
Hi, Randy.
Who has been on my show before. Welcome back, Michelle, and welcome Olena and Sean. So, the very first Muskoka Queer Film Festival.
Isn't that exciting?
It is. When I first heard this, and I think it was you who brought it to my attention initially, Michelle, very excited and anxious to hear more about it and really the evolution and how it came to be. So there's Muskoka Pride, obviously partnered and collaborating with you on this, the Muskoka Lakes Chamber of Commerce, where we are filming this today, the Reen M. Case Theatre, and Sanctuary Studios that I know you are very intimately involved with. So tell me maybe, and I'll start with you, Michelle, how did the festival come about?
I really am going to defer that one. I knew you were going to come to me because this really is a foundation project from Muskoka Pride and the Muskoka Lakes Chamber of Commerce. So I'm going to let Sean take that question.
Something that Muskoka Pride has done on a smaller scale during the festival in the past, have they not?
We filmed individual films, screened individual films during the festival in the past. This is the first time we've ever tried a real film festival. So we were successful in getting a grant through the Canadian Experiences Fund and administered through FedNor for basically a year and a half of large projects. And this is one of our first projects this year.
Wonderful. So tell me a little bit about the festival. What can folks expect when they come here to Bracebridge on the 21st of March?
Well, when they come here on the 21st, they're going to be experiencing 13 amazing films that have been submitted from literally all over the world. We received so many submissions. Our jury committee was arguing quite famously to make the selections, because it was really hard decisions to make to come up with the selection we have. We have quite a diverse assortment of films, and so at the Reen M. Case Theatre, starting at 3 p.m. on Sunday, March 21st, we will begin screening of the films. It'll be in 3 blocks with 2 intermissions, and we'll be finished at 9 o'clock.
So, as a curator, Olena, how many films were submitted? That you narrowed it down to 13, but how many films did you have to go through to get to that 13?
So let's say we had around 30 submissions,
wow.
Right? So, and yeah, it was really hard because we wanted to show all diversity of
sure.
LGBTQ, right? So, and it was really not easy because these days, the queer community produces lots of great pieces, right? And we tried to pick up, the films that would be interesting not only for the queer community, but for the broader community. So the festival is family open, and we welcome everyone. So, and the festival actually is called to unite the community, queer community, and the broader population, and kind of to bring the queer experience to let people see how queer people live these days.
Right. Which is interesting, and especially here in Muskoka, in Simcoe, Muskoka, we don't have a platform that enables us to show that. That's certainly one of the things that I like to do as part of this show, bring that, I hate the word normal, but the normalcy of what queer life is. We're really not that much different than anyone else that is out in the general public. But I think it's important to shine a light on our stories so that people don't see us as different. And I think having a festival like this will go a long way to showing that, a queer love story is no different than a heterosexual love story, really,
Absolutely.
at the heart of it. Love is love. There's truth in that very simplified statement. Love really is love. And to be able to show that and demonstrate that, one segment of the population really isn't that much different than the other, I think is incredibly needed certainly here in Simcoe Muskoka as well. I hate to keep on harping on, Simcoe Muskoka needs this, because I think we're fairly progressive in some corners of this community as well. But to bring that broader scope into what is traditionally a very conservative part of the country is very important, so I applaud you for that. But it had to be difficult out of 30 films submitted to just choose 13. I'm guessing, as you said, you want to have a festival around all 30 films, no doubt.
Well, we would like to.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have much time for this. And actually, we wanted to pick the best pieces, right? The pieces that would really raise attention. And like, for example, another Sad Gay Love Story, the film that was presented last year in Toronto.
Okay.
Right, and this is a Canadian one, right? And it is a great kind of reflection of the story that happened back in 80s, right? And this is really nice gay love story, and really, it would be close to every person who ever been in love, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's why, we picked this film, and we're happy to greet the director of the film. He will come down to us from Toronto.
Oh, wonderful.
For a Q&A session.
Great.
Right? Along with 2 other directors that will be presenting their films at MQFF.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So are there any other guests coming besides these 3 directors? Do you have any of the performers, the actors that will be here for the festival? Or?
Well, actually, we were concentrating on directors because they are kind of, usually the heart of the film, right? Michelle can tell, right? Yeah, so, and actually, they all are very interesting people. So we met some of them before, and we can tell that this would be a blast. This would be a very interesting conversation, something really new for Muskoka.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Now, Michelle, as part of the festival, I read on the website that there's awards for some of these films as well. I don't want to give away who the award recipients are. I'm assuming they've been chosen at this point. But can you tell us a little bit about the awards, what awards are being presented, and sort of the criteria to decide who will be the recipient of these awards?
I can. So if you thought that choosing film selection for a festival like this was difficult, judging and choosing the award winner is even harder.
I can imagine.
But we have a jury, so the team that's pulling the festival together is the judging jury, and so we're individually blind voting on those films to find the one that's going to win the award. We're super excited. I cannot reveal the selection at this time.
Right.
And so that's the judges' award, but there's also an audience award as well, Audience Choice Award, that will be given on the day. So we'll be soliciting votes from all of the public coming to see the films. And the audience will get to choose the best film for the day. Yeah. So that's what we're doing for this launch festival. We're keeping it fairly simple. This is the first time that we've pulled together a festival. So there's an awful lot of learning been going on, which has been a great experience. As a film director, I've submitted films many, many times to festivals and had the pleasure of participating in festivals, but organizing one is quite a different story.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Now, I had a question in my head, and it's left me now. But I'm curious to know more about the other films. We talked about another Sad Gay Love Story as being one of the 13 films, and I don't want to put anyone on the spot to name the other 12. But I'm curious. Another Sad Gay Love Story is a Canadian film you mentioned. Where are the other films from? Across the country? Have you stuck with Canada, or are we international with this festival, or where are the rest of the films originating from?
So actually, we decided to make it international because, well, why not?
Absolutely.
These days, it's all
LGBTQ is international after all.
Yes, it is.
Right. So we had submissions from lots of submissions from Europe, from the United States, and actually we just selected films from the USA and from Switzerland and
cool.
from France.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, beautiful pieces, right? And we had like submissions from all over Europe almost, right?
And I'm just trying to remember on the website I read, these are all either films that are English speaking or dubbed in English, is that correct? Or will there be subtitles? Or some people don't like to read while they watch movies. I had a discussion at work with a colleague.
A couple of them do have subtitles.
Okay.
Yeah.
But many of the films are shorts.
Yeah.
And so reading subtitles for a short film of
Sure.
5 to 15 minutes is
that
not
was-
so much of a
That was
challenge.
my next question. What is the, you have some that are, I think 90 minutes was the maximum length for
Right,
submission.
yes.
And I think you mentioned earlier there was one that's just 5 minutes long.
Right.
So,
yeah.
which makes sense given that, from 3 till 9, a 6-hour period of time to watch 13 90-minute movies and be able to do awards and have Q&A, that's a tight time frame. So it makes sense that some of these are much shorter than that. But so you've got films that will be presented from Canada, the U.S., Switzerland, and France?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. And the directors that are coming, are they all the ones from the Canadian films, or did you manage to get anyone from overseas to come in and see us as well?
Well, we concentrated on Canadian, right? Because actually the goal of the festival was kind of to present, actually Canadian queer life.
Okay.
Right? We have international films just to show that queer life is everywhere. Queer life, right?
Absolutely.
And yes, we all kind of living our lives. In the same love and passion, and but Canadian directors for us are more people who would represent the idea of the festival
Right.
more closely.
A little more
right?
relatable to the
Right.
local folks too, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Now, what about, this is the first year of the festival. Give me your pie in the sky. What do you see, Sean? What would you like to see this become?
We would love to make this an annual festival. This has sort of been a very eye-opening experience. Thank goodness for Michelle and Elena, because my view was we'll pick 2 films and we'll watch them and done. I never in my life imagined we would have almost 30 submissions of original films, not ones that are from my DVD collection.
Right.
And that we'd be having so much difficulty selecting 13 of the best from these, because quite frankly, it was a hard decision. I regret some of the ones we didn't choose because they were just that good as well.
Yeah, that had to be difficult. I couldn't imagine, because I'd be the same way. I'm like, well, that one has to stay in. And so we now have a 30-film festival in the course of 6 hours. How are we going to do that? So are there aspirations to expand this beyond just a one 6-hour day and do it over the course of a weekend, or
Maybe. we honestly want to get through this.
it's hard to say before the
We want to get through this one first and see. I know how much work it's been for the last 3 months just getting this far. I want to see how it feels to get through the one day before I even remotely suggest we're going to do it a whole weekend.
It seems to me, at least from when it was first brought to my attention, this has all happened relatively quickly. I'm curious to know, from when you decided this is what we want to do and you've got the funding, has it really been a fairly short process to get all this done?
Incredibly.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me.
Incredibly compressed. Well, and part of that is that from a funding perspective, funders have deadlines,
Right.
And so the deadline for us was a winter program. I understand, but we didn't get approval on the funding until
It was about October we officially...
late October.
October, September we officially got funding.
And of course, everyone's busy people. This is not our full-time job either.
No.
So to pull it all together in such a short time, I think a testament to a great team.
Absolutely.
And delighted to be working with this team. It's going to be a great day.
And just while we're on the subject of the team, I know we have the 3 of you here, but can you tell me who some of the other team members are as part of this production?
Sure. Also from the Muskoka Pride Board of Directors is Murph Taylor-Moran and Glenn Yakula. And we also have 2 representatives from the Muskoka Lakes Chamber of Commerce, Nora Morrison and Caitlin Broad. So that makes our 7-member planning team.
Wow. So what's the reaction been like when you brought this and started to publicize the fact that we're going to have a queer film festival here in Muskoka? What has been the response of folks in Muskoka and Bracebridge and Simcoe County?
A lot of people have been surprised, but honestly, a smile comes to people's face. Like, wow, that's amazing that we're going to have that. And some people are saying, why haven't we done this before? I can tell you why we haven't done it before, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and the first one always is, right? And I'm sure that once things are over and you do some assessment and reflection, then that's when the decision will be made whether it makes sense to put the work into it again. But once it's been done the first time, at least you have those building blocks to be able to make sure that the second and third and fourth time is easier, if that's possible. So this is March 21st, 3 till 9 here at the Reencase Theatre. Was there a reason why this theatre was? I mean, it's a beautiful spot, great location. Were there other options for where the festival would or could be held, or was this really, this is where we need this to be?
We looked into a few options. We like in Bracebridge because it's central to Muskoka. It's an easy drive from Toronto or Barrie or from North Bay, so it really is a convenient spot for people to come to.
And the theatre is a beautiful space. So particularly because we were looking at having the Q&A, having the directors, so having a stage, some sound, and some great lighting also helps with the ambience. We've got great projection and cinema sound in here as well. So it all adds up, comfy seats. It all adds up to a great experience. And we've got a great intermission planned.
Yeah, I was going to say, and also the planning for the intermission is some Q&As with directors as well as sampling from Sawdust City Brewery.
Oh,
so something more people can look forward to.
Absolutely. And any concession stand I usually have at the theatre, so that's fantastic. Now, will there be popcorn?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. You can't have a movie without popcorn.
No, you cannot have movies without popcorn.
So what's next when this is all said and done? Obviously we've got Muskoka Pride is just around the corner. So
Muskoka Pride is about 4 months away in mid-July, so we're gearing up for that on our Pride committee.
And Elena, what about you for projects in the future?
Well, and I'm still thinking of the films that we did not select for the festival, right? And we discussed it already. Maybe there will be possibility to screen them during Muskoka Pride, right?
No, that's a great idea.
Right? Yeah, this is a great idea because some of them really were being screened here, right? So we're really looking forward to it. And maybe there will be directors who would come from Muskoka Pride as well. And actors, right? So, well, the idea would develop itself.
Yeah, and what are the dates for Muskoka Pride?
So Muskoka Pride Week this year is from July 18th to 26th. We'll have events all across Muskoka, and we're still working on all of those details, including the 3rd annual Muskoka Pride Parade.
Yes, I've yet to actually get to a Muskoka Pride, and I will be out of the province during this time yet again. It falls right around my wedding anniversary, so we're always on the East Coast for that. So that's the same. Halifax Pride is on there, and that's sort of the thing my husband and I do. But one of these years, we're going to have to make an exception and stay closer to home. And what about you, Michelle? What seems to be on the horizon for you when this is all said and done?
Oh, there's always so much work going on. We have the Canadian Trans Summit taking place at the end of March. We have some international projects coming up. And of course, we get into Pride season, so that always tends to get very busy. So yeah, there's always work to be done. And of course, the coronavirus is having an effect on some of our plans. So
I didn't want to mention that, but
well,
you did.
And it's an important consideration for a lot of the events that we are generally involved in that require international participation or international travel. And it's just before I came out today, another conference that I was due to speak at has been cancelled.
Yeah, I think I get an email just about every day over the last week about a conference that's been cancelled. So
we're sincerely hoping we don't have to do that. Being a local event, MQFF won't get affected by that, but that's having an impact on our work generally. Yeah.
Okay, so if there was one way that you wanted to describe the festival to get folks to come out, and maybe we'll start with ticket sales. How are we on ticket sales? Do you have many left, or are we close to a sellout crowd?
Still tickets left.
We still have tickets left, and tickets are priced separately. So we have a VIP ticket at $50. So what we've done is we've reserved some of the best seats in the house. There's not a bad seat in the house, but the very best ones in the center of the auditorium. VIP seating, and there's also general admission. Tickets available. So I don't actually have a handle on those ticket sales, but I know they're flowing, which is really exciting.
And it seems, I mean, that's a great scale price-wise too, because that makes it really accessible to a lot of folks, right?
So,
Accessibility was really, we didn't want a barrier to admission during this. I think that was something, a founding principle that Muskoka Pride and Muskoka Lakes Chamber of Commerce had when they conceived the project. So, and you know, that's really key, because cost is oftentimes a barrier for queer folk, as we know, right? So.
Right, and we donated some tickets to students, right?
Oh, wonderful.
So we have some GSA students who will be attending, and
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we should let people know how to get tickets, should we not?
That would be good.
yeah.
So I was going to say they can go to the mqff.ca website and click on the link to buy tickets, or also, I guess, is it the
Ring Case, so thecase.com.
Thank you. Thecase.com is the Ring Case website, or they can call the box office.
Yeah, and we'll put all those links up at the end of the show. So
There'll be a few tickets available that day, but most will be sold online.
So maybe if there's somebody out there watching this and they're sort of on their edge of the seat debating, do I get a ticket or not? What would you say to them, Elena, to convince them that this is a festival that they need to attend?
I would say that this is the only chance to see some films that people would never see somewhere else. This is a unique chance for Canada and for Muskoka.
That's great. Now, speaking of that, though, when the festival is over, are there options to be able to watch some of these screenings that you're doing here online somewhere at some point, or how are they accessible otherwise? Someone like myself, for example, who sadly, again, because of husbandly duties, won't be able to actually attend the festival, but absolutely want to see some of these films. How do I see them?
Well, yes, some of them are available online, but you know, watching online at
I know the
home,
experience is totally different.
it's
Absolutely.
not the same thing.
No, I
Absolutely
agree.
No, right. So when you're here with the crowd of people who support you, and you know, this kind of collective feeling of love or despair or whatever you see on the screen, right? It's absolutely different experience.
Oh, of course.
Yes, and
Yeah.
if you really want to feel the film, you need to be here with the people, you know, and experience it all together.
Sure. Yeah, immersion in that experience with a like-minded group of people. Yeah, I agree. There's nothing like that, and I am
Right.
disappointed that I will not be here. But I'll be here next year.
And the reality is, these are not just good, queer films. These are good films,
Right.
and they're ones that I guarantee have not been seen in Muskoka before. And really, the only spot you can see most of them is at other queer film festivals if they've been submitted.
And, you know, we have a very vibrant filmmaking community in Canada, Toronto in particular, some great programs. So we have some great independent films made by upcoming directors, written by and for the queer community. You know, all of these kind of intersectionality pieces. And they're a great representation of true diversity and inclusivity. So, you know, it's an opportunity to really get take a peek into some of the other dimensions of the human experience, and do that in an environment where we can then have a conversation about them afterwards as well. It's
Yeah, and I think that experience is also a unique one, to actually being at the festival, being able to not only be immersed in the film, but the conversation after the film, whether it be as part of the Q&A or even in intermission. You know, I would be someone who, during the intermission, I would seek out the director and be asking even more questions and hearing more about, you know, why you made this film and what were you thinking when this scene was shot, and those sort of questions. So it's, I think that's a really important aspect of any film festival, is that interaction when the film is over, even with the audience members. Because obviously during a film you want to be respectful and quiet and watch the film, but afterwards, like, you know, just, oh my gosh, or we look at one another when we're all in tears and that sort of thing. Because I imagine this is going to be, there'll be some emotional films as part of this selection as well, as there has to be when we're telling any stories of diversity and inclusion. So I think I've got to find some way to get out of going to see Hamilton. But no, I just wanted to say that I really commend you for getting this festival off the ground. And I know Muskoka Pride is at the heart of this in having done these screenings at the festival in the past, and to have been awarded the funding to bring this into a full-day festival, I think is fabulous. And to do it under such a tight time constraint. I can't imagine. I've put together a few events myself very recently, and it can be draining. I didn't have to review 13 films though, or 30 films, and try and choose just 13. So I commend you for that. I think it's an absolutely wonderful addition to our queer community here in Simcoe Muskoka, and I hope it will be an absolutely huge success. We do have a little sneak peek for the audience of my show. We're going to show the trailer for Another Sad Gay Love Story, which you mentioned the director will be here for the Q&A. So this may be a way, if folks are watching this show, and because this show is going to air the week prior to the festival happening. So this will be out there enough, and once the show airs and I get the link available, I'll share it with you so you can share the show link, and that may hopefully convince folks to who are on the fence to come to the theater and watch these performances as well. So
Definitely worth the drive up from Simcoe.
I agree. Yeah, I haven't been to Bracebridge in years, so this is my first visit to Bracebridge in a very long time, and yeah, it's closer than I thought. It really is. It really is. So yeah, sneak peek right now for all of our viewers out there of Another Sad Gay Love Story, directed by Thomas Goldha. So, Michelle Empson, thank you very much once again for being on the program. Sean, a pleasure as always. And Elena, I'm very happy that you were on the show, and it was great to finally get a chance to meet you. I've heard wonderful things about you.
Thank you.
So thank you again, and thank you for watching another episode of Let's Be Perfectly Queer.
Yeah, Elliot and his family moved down the street from me when we were 5, and we met the next day. Been best friends ever since.
We're still going strong. Jackie's the first person I came out to.
Oh, right on.
I'm Jackie, by the way. Lisa. Hi.
Did you read the headline? Get this. New pill claims to change sexual orientation of users. Gay community outraged. This is so sick.
People hate us.
And Joanne's obviously a dyke. I mean, you've seen the way she dresses. Oh, God.
But it's true. I know that we both agreed that it's messed up. But I was thinking, and what if we took it?
I like my life. Even if it is hard sometimes. I'm sorry.
I really like you, Elliot.
Look at this. Dirty fags.
What is this?
Lose this.
I'm not going anywhere.